go into this matter, we will crack our head. We talk on so many things, which was much needed probably. So, from Durgapur Society of Management Science, DSMS College, we are welcoming you all on this auspicious occasion, I should name. And to moderate this program, I am welcoming and inviting our Assistant Professor, Madam Runa Chatterjee, and Mr. Shuman Ghosh. So, let's start the program with Runa and Shuman. Thank
We
you.
hold the Grand August Company comprising the stalwarts of the industry and the masterminds who helped create them. Without them, this could not have done, and we need the chefs also who do it actually. So, to talk about DSMS, it is the gateway to success, and DSMS warmly welcomes the highly talented and experienced delegates to the Chefs Conclave 2022. DSMS by itself is a reputed name in the hospitality industry. DSMS
In the hotel ITC, Chef Javaji was there, and an association was formed with the help of Chef Sundaraju. He was the president of the Culinary Association of India, something like this. It was long back, it was a few years back. And we continued for a few years, 4-5 years. Later on it got dissolved because the partner chef, they either got transferred or they left Calcutta for various own reasons and official reasons also. Yes, we in our college we run a lot of courses in management, computers, in healthcare. But as it was said that DSMS, the flagship brand was about hotel management.
so much, sir. Thus, with other felicitations, I would request sir, please, to just come and felicitate. what this conclave is about, right? We all actually think that what is the requirement of the conclave? Well, it is to spend some time in discussion and discourse over 3 issues that require our attention at the moment.
নমস্কার, আপনাদের সবাইকে অভিবাদন জানাচ্ছি DSMS কলেজের পক্ষ থেকে। আমি সুমন ঘোষ। Since you have already come to know what are the points to be discussed, once more I'll repeat. It has got his own language. So we have decided in such a way, which had an excellent background and developed the career of, there might be a gap, might be a slight gap or big gap that you people will be talking about.
And good morning to all of you. All honorable chefs are here, my previous colleagues, present colleagues, everybody is here. And it's a very known area. I'm feeling that I'm within the family once again. We're seeing students, those who are graduating after 3 years. In most of the cases, very honestly, I'm saying that whenever students are getting their jobs in big houses, basically, primarily, very honestly, I'm saying once again that it is because of their own talents, and where IHMs or different other colleges are trying to put some knowledge about the subject matters only, nothing else. Because our system is not defined, not structured in that way. We have to think, if our product is supposed to be a management trainee program, at the end of 3 years will produce a budding managers or budding chefs, then I believe the curriculum has to be rethink and redesigned. It may be a course of 3 years, 4 years, not 3 years exactly, 4 years it has to be. And initial 2 years will be the general study of all the areas. And then 3rd and 4th year will be absolutely a specializations, where the student, according to their choice, because that is the right time for them to choose their right inclination for the area, the trade, and they can move along. If they want to project themselves to become managers, they will definitely choose a hospitality management side, and other people they can go for the chefs management training program, whatever, for 2 years, and they can be special.
Because all of us belong to the trade, and if I put together the combined experience of all of us, it'll probably be crossing 400 or 500 years of experience, all of us put together. So that's the kind of value all of us are carrying to this forum. I very much agree with what Professor mentioned just now. No doubt that when we are on this side of the fence, our expectations from the students, from the interns, from the young breed which joins us is tremendous. And it's but natural that if my output is going to be 8 on 10 or 9 on 10 or 10 on 10, I would expect the same to be coming from the other side as well, which are the students. But having said that, I had the privilege of being part of the Welcome Group Management Institute also when we used to do the hiring and recruitment for the management trainees. So I closely interacted with the students who would be appearing for the trade test and for the interviews and everything. And why the success rate for the management training program used to be so low, I was able to analyze at that time, because number of times the students, why would they opt to join kitchen? Because they feel either they don't have the personality cut out for the front office or for F&B. So they would think that, okay, yes, I can get into kitchen. At least kitchen doesn't have that problem that you need to be looking smart, you need to be presentable, you need to be having good communication skills. So they thought that probably it's easier to get into the kitchen.
Yeah, good afternoon to one and all. First of all, I'd like to thank the DSMS for organizing such an event, which is definitely very necessary. By the way, I'm Rupam Ghosh. I'm representing the Neotia University. As rightly pointed out by, before I go into the gap and all, let me first of all tell you that the issue which the institutes generally have during the IT is that long hours, less pay and all. I'm not into that, not sure. What I want to compliment here is that I've got around 28 years of experience behind me. I have seen that the students who are working in the kitchen, they have a very different opinion about IT. They enjoy it, seriously speaking. On the other departments, they may have a lot of complaints. But in the kitchen, I have never found, maybe because of attraction of the food, but ultimately it's not the food. It's the treatment which the chefs give. And it is not I'm talking about today. I'm talking about for the last 10-15 years. When we were students, the scenario was very different. As pointed out by Sir, that yes, even when I did my training, I did it in Park, Kolkata, I think. First 15 days washing utensils, and rest 15 days working in the pantry, and then finally little bit of work. But now the days have changed. The students are like, the ITs are being encouraged by the kitchen people. So I'd like to thank the entire chef fraternity here for like taking it up. So that's a very good one, sir. Now, there's one more change, as rightly said by the chef, that when we were, that hotel management was the last resource. कहीं नहीं हुआ, चलो यार hotel management कर लेते हैं. There was a scene for me also. Engineering दिया था हमने, मैं रांची का बंदा हूँ, नहीं हुआ. एक साल और try किया, नहीं हुआ. Hotel management कर लिया. I'm not regretting that at all. I passed out from Taratala. But now the scenario has changed. There are students who are getting 99% and choosing hotel management as the first. And that is because of the chefs only. Maybe because of social media, maybe because of the television, but people are getting attracted towards that. So that means now we are having the right pool of students coming into us. We cannot say that they are leftovers coming to us, we are academicians. But now, then also there is a gap. Why the gap? According to me, if I personally find that the hotels are doing good in giving training and all, or welcoming them, impressing them, then why the gap? I have seen, and I think Chef Bonaful sir also agreed with me in a way, is that quite a few faculties, they themselves have hardly any industry experience. So when they start teaching, what are they teaching? Whatever they have learned in the college. Can we make chefs from that? And the answer is no. Since we are talking about only chef today. So that is why I think there should be some, I'm from a private university. So we have the freedom, which the government organizations may not be having, in changing the curriculum. So we have initiated that at UTI University. We have done some minimum, as I said, it's initiated. Of course, we are taking it forward. For example,
corporate chefs, everybody. I agree with a lot of the chefs what they've already spoken, but gap analysis between industry and academic, I would come later. Modern approach in cooking process is something which I think it keeps changing. It's a very dynamic industry we are in. Post-COVID, I could see when we meet a lot of guests, the expectations have changed. Post-COVID, when I'm meeting a lot of new students, I can see there's a change in the way they think. I'm sure Devi Shankar would also concur. When we are now meeting the guests, when they do want to do some special events in the restaurants and in the banquets, their expectations are changing. So it's a very dynamic thing. So modern approach in cooking process, I like to keep it simple. I think so we need to kind of make ourselves more resourceful to kind of understand how we meet the guest expectations and how we execute it. There are a lot of times when we do a food in a restaurant and the guest expects us to do the same food in a volume catering, we need to kind of put our foot down and make them understand that it's not possible and how are we going to reach that thing. But at the same time, we have to also understand the customer is going to pay a lot of money, he's put in a lot of efforts and he's got some occasion we need to meet up. So we need to have a common bridge across. So modern approach has been evolving. But I still think the traditional approach will definitely come back, and nowadays there are a lot of chefs, entrepreneurs who are coming with a lot of great restaurants, and we keep working towards it. When it comes to the third part, which is the expectation of industry from the academics, I think so it's a $1 million question, nobody's got a right answer. What I would like to believe is the more exposure, and I think so the principal also highlighted, the more exposure the student has of the industry, that will help. So even if it is a 3-year course, from the first year itself, even if he has 1 month in the first year itself, and in the second year he has got maybe 4 to 5 months, and in the third year if he's got 5 to 6 months of experience, of practical experience in hotels, or it could be a restaurant also, it will help them to understand There are times when we have the set modules, when we say first year has to be theory, second year has to be theory. Only the third year, when it comes to practical, it is important for the student to understand the first year, second year, third year, also the standards are changing. The hotels are changing. The kitchen which we had 4 years back is not the best kitchen. Now we are trying to modify it out there. I think so they need to have a practical experience every year, and I mean the time module can be definitely decided by the principal and the chefs around. Awareness of the situation is very important.
Educator, that what we teach in our institutes, is it really relevant for the people to get adequate jobs in the hotels, in the industry? Are we preparing them well? Are we getting them industry ready? I think a lot of institutes are failing the mark because we are not really being able to do that. Maybe in the Western world, yes, there have been a lot of practical development of the curricula, but in India, unfortunately, since I have knowledge of a lot of institutes and universities and the curriculum as well as the syllabus, we find that it is not really adequate. We tend to go on teaching what is really archaic in today's world. We go on teaching theories and the funders which were taught to us probably when we were kids, when we were doing hotel management, and not much has changed. So what the complaint always comes across when we interact with hoteliers is that you are sending us students who are not really having the proper knowledge of the skills. Yes, we understand that, because until and unless we have really an aggressive vision as to, we have to try to understand what is the current trend and what is the current need of the industry. That is very important. Because if we teach something which is like a fairy tale, which is a story which was years back, and today is something different, then it doesn't make sense. Today we know that the industry has progressed so much that there is a lot of technology being involved in it. A lot of different plating skills, plating styles, different concepts, different type of food preparation. There is a lot of research going in. Unfortunately, in our institutions, we don't have any research-based study module. We just have a very traditional Indian style of learning, that's a rote learning. We just usually have faculties giving out notes, faculties preparing certain PowerPoint presentations, maybe showing some videos, and then give the handouts. Students either listen or not listen, depends on the quality of the student's attitude, and then they go back home, they forget about it. Just before the exam, people just open up the notes, mug it up, come and give it, vomit it out in the exams, and that's it. So are they really learning? Unfortunately, no. And that really comes out when these students visit the hotels for internship, when the professionals start asking them some questions. Maybe a few basic questions are answered, and after that, the students tend to lose their way. And what happens is, then they say that the institute has not taught me. So this is somewhere, probably a reality with some institutes, somewhere may not be. But what we really need to understand is that there is definitely a huge gap which is existing between what the industry is doing, what is their expectation from the people that they want to recruit as their manpower to take their hotel ahead, and what the institute is teaching. So to bridge this gap, it is very important that the industry and the institute work hand in hand together. It is, this has been discussed a lot. I was just talking to Sir Bonoful about this, that in multiple editions of FHRI conventions, this has been a point of discussion, that there should be a conglomeration of the institutes and the industry working together, that industry should develop a role and define better work life and all that, because today's kids, they are not like us. We were built up in a different way. We always were taught by our parents that we have to put in a lot of hardship and develop our career. Today's kids are coming with almost a silver spoon in their mouth. So everybody is coming with a mobile phone maybe from 1 year age to 2 year age. So today the expectations are very different. Today the kids want to enjoy their life. They are ready to work hard, but they also want the enjoyment. They want to have a profile of the work which will give them respect. So this is somewhere I think we are having a little bit of a mismatch from the industry side. So somewhere
and it's very difficult to touch every verticals and every what we call subheads under the short time. Talking about the gap analysis, firstly, right, like Wonderful Sir mentioned, Chef Vijay mentioned, the curriculum has to be relooked, definitely. Having said that, I think as students, when they're walking out for a course in a hotel management or any advanced culinary course, the mentoring should start from day one. In the way that this is a professional course, we need to groom ourselves as a professional at the end of the program. Hence, once we start as the basic, as a first year and everything, there are a lot of confusion that arises in our minds. It's not only about the curriculum, it's not only about the subject, but also some small doubts about the industry. How to clear that? We normally talk to our teachers, seniors from the colleges, and somewhat we used to get an opportunity to interact with the professionals in the hotels during our industrial training time. I think another way, in a way, we can inculcate some kind of interest among the students if we can get a regular interacting sessions from the professionals, so that in case they have any kind of doubts or any kind of things, they can reduce the gap. Of course, with the advent of the modern technologies and with the YouTubes and with a lot of internet things, a lot of videos are available. Sometimes the students get a little carried away. They see the glamour side of the culinary world, or also it's some kind of they follow the Instagram pages of some renowned chefs and everything. It's something like they don't understand that to dish out a simple thing, there are a lot of the basics which has to be learned, and those basics can only be taught in the college, not in the industry. So what do we do here? Of course, and like Sir mentioned, that the curriculum can always be segregated among the basic 2 years and then among the specialization. But I think the colleges also needs to relook into the mentoring part, so that somewhat they get more the interest. They develop more and more interest, a keen interest towards the subject. So they can, once we do something from the heart, obviously we start liking it. So nowadays, I see a lot of young students, a lot of young pass out from the college. They say, Chef, we want to do this kind of a food, this kind of a preparation. I said, wow, sounds great, but how do you want to execute that? It's something though I don't know if there's relevance here or not, that somewhat a young cricketer watching IPL and they want to start up with all those fancy shots, but they're not learning the grammar of the basic cricketing techniques. So I think senior chefs and the teachers have already mentioned that something has to be relooked again in the industry. Mentoring has to be starting from the colleges, so that the students can clear their doubts, clear their fears, and of course the restructuring of a curriculum can take place, and so that we can expect and we can get more better and more complete culinarians when they join the industry. I think that should sum it up.
In this forum,
all my worthy colleagues present here in this forum from industry and academia. I think we got 3 points from the organizer. So if you allow me, should I just change the serial of it for a moment? So first we will start with expectation of industry from academics. Then we'll come to the gap analysis between industry and academia. And finally, I think modern approach will automatically come in place. So when we are talking about expectation of industry, we have very worthy chefs from the industry, very senior chefs. Please don't take me otherwise. In last 30 years of my academic career, such kind of conclave I have seen at least more than 15, not 30, where everywhere we are doing such kind of analysis and the result is not coming out. We will attend conference, we will speak on the forum. Once we will go back to the institution or the hotels, we will forget about everything. Next time when we will meet, again we are discussing on the same matter. So why don't we take out those gaps in which we are just gathered here and conclude here itself, so that we can understand that this is what reality, and these are the area where we have to work upon, whether it's industry people or it's academics. So my humble
and the dignitaries of the industry. The biggest problem is when you think of saying something, it's already been told, already said. All the points are already covered. Still, to start with Wonderful sir, the point which I personally like and feel is farm to fork. It was generally not being taught in the college. We only think about the recipes, practicals to conduct on time, finishing the syllabus. But to me, emphasis given on the industry, emphasis on the ingredient at the same time. As sir rightly said, the simple chicken. If I go very technical here, if I go chicken, which is a normal free range or confit, we need to understand that first. Nowadays the students are a little ahead of us. In my time, I'm not that old, but in my time, even the models was not properly available in Kolkata. The Gucci was not available, but now the students are literally asking for it in the college practical. Sir, when are you going to get this? Which is not possible for us at the moment because if you talk about supply chain. So people are not understanding because they only see the ingredient when they are in the industry. Caviar, Simon Baluga, Kotirga, whatever is there. And nowadays everything, in my time it was not the complete social media that everything is available just one click ahead. But now students, they understand what is caviar and from where we get the best of this caviar. The students should be trained in such a way, focus on ingredient before cooking. If I talk about only the chef's part, the students are being taught nowadays just to finish their curriculum. This part is bakery, this part is Italian cuisine, this part is regional cuisine, and we are done. Of course, there will be gaps because they are going for the first time in the industry and there is a huge branch. They get confused. Though they don't even understand caviar, I have never seen how to use it. We only have understood the accompaniment of caviar, but they don't even know how to use it. So ingredient is important here. Second point, if I talk, is there should be a beautiful synergy between the industry and academia.
Just want to share my career, a very small thing which I should, as a student, when I went to the industry. I passed out in 2002 from IHM Kolkata. My first trade, I still remember, I went to JW Marriott, Mumbai, and the chefs were all waiting for my trade. It did take 2 to 3 hours. After that, chef came and he did check my trade. One thing he just asked me that, Holmes, can I take this to the guest sitting in the coffee shop? There are a lot of guests out there. Will they pay for it? Will I get revenue out of it? Is this a standard of JW Marriott Mumbai? So I said no, please don't take it. But still I wanted the job. But this whole gap, the food which I made, might be good, but maybe it was not that standard of JW Marriott, which could bring revenue. And my journey started there. I worked with JW, with the chefs, I learned, I went worldwide. And wherever I went, culinary is such a thing that it's huge, it's vast. I learned in Europe, I learned in Dubai, different food of different countries. There is no stoppage of it. We cannot say that we are the best chefs in the world or the perfect chefs in the world. Now when I came back to the academics, when I came back to the college to teach, I found that the important thing is when the student comes to a college, okay, as I gave my trade, how I look, how tall I am, how good physique I have, how I speak in English, doesn't matter. It all comes to that plate. My job was standing, the chef was standing there, was all depends on that plate which I've made. And that plate took me throughout my life everywhere, and I found that plate is very important everywhere in whichever stage I've worked. When I worked in restaurants also, that plate was very important, because if that plate wouldn't have been sold, then as a chef, working as a head chef, I wouldn't have sustained the place. The owner would have come and said, Isa, you're a chef, you're good, you're this, you're a good person, doesn't matter. Your attitude, your looks, you're smart, doesn't matter. If this is not sold, if this doesn't bring me revenue, I cannot pay you salary, and my restaurant will be closed down. So food is very, very important as a chef. That is a major thing we are into. As a thing, the trade has to have emphasis, and the trade has to be given importance. How I look doesn't matter, how I talk doesn't matter. No?
Gap analysis, modern approach and expectations of the industry from academics. Now one thing I like to tell about everybody, and how everybody has covered all the points and all. One thing which is very much required to incorporate into the student is the attitude. So this is the best time when they are joining to nurture them how to develop the attitude, the duty, the dedication and the discipline. If they learn about this and if they incorporate within themselves, I hope this gap would be narrowed enough. And we should be, as academics here, we should be regularly in touch with the hotel industry, the chefs who are there here, to regularly call them to our institute and tell them to nurture. It's not from our side of
give me just ideal platforms to share few drops of knowledge regarding this program. So I'm not, I don't want to give a long speech regarding this. The main parts have been already covered. So that's why I want to put a few lines on it. As being a this chef for the last 25 years, I have very much experience in the kitchen. First of all, I want to share one thing. First is interest and attitude. Thus interest like a seeds, and the faculties like a guru. Gu means darkness and Ru means lights. The persons who gives lights to somebody's futures, he is called guru. So interest means was, that is interest for learning. This is the main thing, as per my experience or whatever it may be. If we create a good interest towards the learning, if it is kitchen, if it is housekeeping, if it is service or anything else. This is the main thing. Second is dedication, devotion and discipline is very much required for the industry. All we know that the industry and the respect of the timings.
A new concept which the students have got now, and again the industry and academics. So I think that the academics in colleges, they can be thought like they need to be educated, that this is again not a very smooth thing in working in the kitchen. If you want to be a good chef, you need to work it very hard and very hard. It's not again a cakewalk job. And cooking process again, you know, like every day there is new things which are coming in the cooking industry. in a culinary things and everyone. And we are learning today, we'll keep learning, and again in future also we'll be growing up. And expectations from industry and academics, again as a chef, like when the students are coming, the same thing it is again, like they have a different expectation. What we need in the industry is totally different. We need something, the basic things are always missing in the students when they are coming in the, for the interview in the things. And when they come, they have only one thing, like the basic things, again like everybody has already shared. The basic things are basically it is missing in them. And again some of the chef has said, like when they come, their main focus is to see the plating and
To say a few words, the program we enjoyed. Please.
I'm yet to see another patient, such a patient audience in front of me. They have been really very patient. I was thinking, I was hearing a lot of new things. You have expressed your minds. The gap analysis to me is we don't meet often. That's the gap. That's the gap. We don't know what should be done in between the industry and the industry. It's a responsibility of the industry as well, because if we die, we will not survive. And the industry dies, we will not survive. It's as simple as that. But knowing this also, we do not make, I'm talking about pan-India. I'm not talking beyond India, I'm talking about pan-India, whatever little exposure I have about what's going on. We really don't meet quite often, or even actively, how much we should have done before. That's the gap. Rest of the things will follow after we have met suitably. And the expectation is reciprocal. Of course, I want to go beyond whatever is the expectation of the industry. So we also have some expectation from the industry as well. And if I start a little back, we all are quite senior chefs are there, junior chefs are there. Our competition is not with what we could not do. Our problem is we stand in a situation where we are competing with other faculty of studies. There are engineering courses. There are a lot of other courses which are software engineering and all this. So the kids today, if they are little intelligent, they opt for other courses. The residue that we have today's date is just last, what do we say, puppet form. We are just getting admitted without knowing where we are.
You a little more. Since I'm a teacher myself of communication and soft skills, I had a long list of questions for you, but those have been answered more or less. There are a few that I need. One is for everyone over here, our students, they keep on complaining that there's a big attrition, you know. One is that unsuitability to work for a longer time. They work for a long period of time, so that is one complaint they always come up with, and they say they get less financial benefits. So could you just tell us how will we mentor our students on these two issues? Is there any way of kind of counseling them that no, this is part of the job or something? Any soft words for them?
Just repeat the question once.
The question is, one is the unsuitability to work for longer times. They seem to be working for very long and they get stressed out and they complain about that. And the second is comparatively they get less financial benefits. Is it true or is it that they are just complaining?
As far as the first part is concerned, it's true.
Okay.
They do end up spending long hours, and reasons as to why. And another part is, which I'm sure everybody around would agree, that all of us have worked our way upwards or worked our way through by having put in long hours.
Yeah,
and everybody would have their defining moment that I've worked for 18 hours, 20 hours, 24 hours, more than that at a stretch. So that's but natural to be expected, because we have worked like that, so we expect the other guys also, the workforce also, to be working like that. As far as the remuneration is concerned, as an intern, I think that's an industry benchmark, that none of the hotels are paying really upwards of 2,000 or 2,500 also, as far as the interns are concerned. And as an intern, it's a mutual give and take, that you go and it's not really your salary that you're getting in, but you are getting some kind of a pocket money, which you can boast about later on in your career, that I worked and I was getting this much of a stipend.
Okay.
So it's the same thing, that if I was to say, I'll say that yes, when I was working as an intern, I was getting 500 rupees. So I will boast about it now, that आप लोगों को तो फिर भी 2500 मिल रहा है, मेरे को तो 500 मिलता था. So that's a mutual give and take, because being kids, being the students of the college, you expect them, okay, this is what they probably would be getting, and we can put it across to our HR, but again, everyone's policies are not